Wouldn't it be nice going into interviews and having the playbook to exactly what they're going to ask? Yeah, I'd agree. It would be. Let me show you a little bit about what's inside of this playbook to help you do really well with interviews. Let's get started here. Stressed about interviews or afraid of coding in front of others? Discover these fundamentals of how to prepare for any coding interview to get the offer you deserve. Now, I actually have built a cheat sheet for a lot of these things so that you can think about the bigger topics. This video is part about the cheat sheet, part about putting all together or exactly how you should prepare in a solution. Let's get started with, let's get started. I have an offer for you. If you're looking for help with coding interviews, then I encourage you to reach out. I built Coding Career Fastlane to help you accelerate your career no matter where you're at in the process. But let's get in some content. So first and foremost, your routines. Follow your routines to the T. If you like to go for runs, go for runs. Do not mess up what you do by habit or by routine consciously just for an interview. It only hurts. It doesn't help. So that's the first point here is stay with your routines. I use the running as an example because I've seen it literally happen before. You can check out some of the other videos I talk about that story more in depth. But following that and following your routines also when you get in. So if you get in a coding example or you're whiteboarding, if you have a routine of how you debug, don't stray away from it just because you think it will show better because you don't Google or that you don't write down your thoughts. Like, continue doing that stuff. Do not stop. That'll also hurt too if you stop doing those. All right, so the second thing I want to talk about in this video of how to prepare is you need to plan out your 24 hours. This is specifically coming also straight out of the cheat sheet, so go check that out there. There'll be a link below. But plan out your 24 hours. Plan out when everything is going to happen because this is your plan to success for the next 24 hours. When you're going to go to sleep, when you're going to wake up, what routines you're going to follow, when are you going to study, when are you going to show up, what are you going to eat, are you going to eat healthy? This will allow you to know that you are going to be successful if you just follow the plan you've set before you. Far too often people just show up and think they're going to have success on a whim. Success doesn't come like that. Success comes with a plan and you following it to the detail of what you set out. Third thing in how to prepare for an interview, research and review. Now that's the main topic, but let's talk about each point of what you should research and review. First off, review what you have studied up to this point, right? If you've gone through a boot camp, you have a curriculum. If you're in the job currently, review what you know how to use. Is it Node? Is it Python? Is it Java? I've seen a lot of comments lately about assembly. Is it assembly? I don't know. Whatever it is, study it so that you can be on the top, tip-top shape of your knowledge with it. Specifically, a question like pros and cons of whatever's on your resume is a really good one to review what you know. I ask people all the time pros and cons of Node.js, and they always give me, well, not always, but more likely, I'm going to get a terrible answer that's like, oh, JavaScript. It's all written in JavaScript. That's not good. The second thing to research and review is the job description. So research it in depth with what they're asking, whether they're throwing Drupal on there, whether they're talking about PHP or Python or CI/CD. Make sure not only do you read it and review it, but you research the things you don't know about it, because more than likely you're going to have a conversation about it. If you're not educated enough on it, that's not going to look good. Third thing, research your resume in depth. This is a funny one to people. Like, why would I research my resume? I wrote it. And I've said this in previous videos about how I would grill you if we ever do a mock interview, and I still stand by that. I will absolutely grill you on your resume. But the reason I say to research it is because I'm going to potentially ask you pros and cons questions, insight questions, behavioral questions. There's lots of different questions I could ask you about anything on there. And sometimes what happens when I ask people is like, I get an answer like, oh, I never really thought about it. And then I don't get a great answer. Or they're put into different scenarios and haven't thought through the story fully or haven't thought about it in years. And like, yeah, it's on the resume. I haven't done that in 5 years. And I remember, well, it's on your resume. I fully expect an answer. So research and review your own resume because it will be beneficial when it comes time to chat with the employer. And then the fourth thing here is research the people you are talking to. So if you know you're going to come in and talk to me, right, you better know about, I'm not saying I expect this out of people in there, but if you're going to do good research to impress someone or to show that you've actually taken the time to study, meanstackjs.com that I've built, some of my GitHub profiles, some of my NPM packages that have a couple 100,000 downloads a year, all relevant information to maybe ask questions on, to maybe know more about the person, to know, well, how technical is your interview going to get potentially? Now, that's research and review section. I encourage you to study and research and review all of those things. Next is practice. When we're talking about preparing for an interview, you must practice. One of the best ways that you can't get around is a mock interview. Nothing's better than a mock interview, I feel as though sometimes, because it's going to actually put you in that mindset and the mind frame of like, oh no, what if I fail? Or like I'm coding in front of somebody and the anxiety kicks in every time. And I love it because that's what practice is. Practice makes perfect. So mock interviews is the first thing you should practice. If you need help with mock interviews, you can't find anyone, reach out. I have a service where I do mock interviews for people. Let us know if that's something you're interested in. Second thing in practice is practicing these 4 main types of questions. You can find this on the interviewing cheat sheet as well too, but I'm going to cover it here now rather briefly. The first the first 2 main types of questions and the most common you are going to get are behavioral questions and technical questions. Behavioral is going to be much more about the process, and technical is going to be much more about the knowledge and the content. Now, those are very, very popular. You're going to get a lot of you're going to get technical questions about what's on their job description. You're going to get behavioral on some of the attributes and traits and things they're looking for in their job description. The third type of question you're going to get that is very important for you to be able to talk about is open-ended. Open-ended questions are going to be much more for you to drive the conversation. This is where they will come off your resume. These specifically come off your resume. Also, the next type, insight questions, where they're looking to see if you've really done what you said you've done. Much like me, now that I am in a position where I lead, I lose. Like when people ask me that question, I can always be like, yeah, I've lost my own time. I'm not an individual contributor anymore. I have to work with my team. And that's a clear indication of anyone that's led knows that going from individual contributor to team lead is like, whoa, where did my time go? And that's an insight I want to see if I'm talking to someone that's been helping lead people or been in more of a position of a team lead. Open-ended insight are coming off your resume. So that's why also going back to the last section, your resume is important. So pay attention to it. And the last section and last thing I want to talk about here are success tips for you to prepare for in the interview. Now, this also comes from the interview cheat sheet as well. There are parts of it on here, but I want to make sure in this video we brought it all together. But first and foremost, success for you to prepare for is to be personable. Sometimes nothing's better than just kind of getting in there and being yourself and being personal with someone and getting someone to like you for who you are, because that's one of the biggest selling points. So that's first and foremost. Second thing is to be confident in the answers and what you say. Because at the end of the day, confidence is knowing the outcome. If you just know the answers you're going to give are the best answers you have, you can be confident in what you're saying. Now, third thing, getting used to handling the unknown. Preparing, and this is why mock interviews, I think, and practicing are so good. One of the main success tips, and number 3 here, is handling the unknown. Getting used to handling the unknown, having a process, going through it, and not just freezing up. If you can work through that, that'll be a huge success for you. And last but not least, have the common knowledge of, well, better yet, it's the success tip. It's literally just called common knowledge. And the point of it is anything out there is common knowledge. I expect you to know about the job, the company, the interview, the tech, the networking. If it's easily accessible and it's common knowledge to everyone, you should openly know it. Now, there are a lot of ways to prepare. These are the core 5 I think you should focus on. If you would like more or like help accelerating your coding career around preparing for interviews, then download the interview cheat sheet and sign up down below for the Coding Career Fastlane. It's a service I built to help people accelerate their career, whether they're beginning or advanced, and I show and help you build a plan to join the Fastlane. That's it for today's video. If you have any comments, questions, or anything at all, feel free to reach out or leave a comment below, and we will be in touch soon. Have a great rest of your day.